Back on the show is Chris Camozzi, this time fighting in the Glory ring. He's going to be making his debut for the promotion coming up here on December 1st. Chris, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good, man. It's a beautiful day out, so I figured I'd come sit outside and talk to you. But winding up training here this week and just getting ready for Glory.
Now, take me through the process of how you ended up signing with Glory, because it seemed like this happened fairly quickly after you left the UFC.
Yeah, so I've been friends with the guys from Glory for a while through Dustin Jacoby. The CEO, John Franklin, lives here in Denver, so I've been around him quite a bit. And then they also have their headquarters here in Denver, so we've been down there, and we've had a close relationship, I would say, for some years now. And my brother originally fought for Glory near the beginning of his MMA career, so I've been around those guys for a while, and it just made sense. I've always enjoyed kickboxing, and what better time to do it than now?
Yeah, and I was going to say, you mentioned being around it for a while, so this was something you had been thinking about for a while as far as what's next after the UFC.
Yeah, well, we'd always talked about it, and I'm sure that they wish that the UFC could collaborate with some guys, seeing as they're on Fight Pass and everything. I think they would make for some fun fights if Glory and the UFC were able to trade some guys back and forth, but that hasn't happened yet, or I don't know if it will. But at the point my contract ended, it seemed like a good time to go for it.
Were there any other offers from any other MMA promotions, or was it just straight to Glory after the UFC release?
No, so I got several offers. They're still on the table. So with my Glory contract, I can still fight MMA. So I'm not retired from MMA. I'm not done with MMA.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I wanted to set the record straight on that. I wanted to make sure that you weren't just completely jumping ship. So that's good to know.
No, yeah, and I'm still taking some offers. We're just taking our time and deciding. I would say Glory jumped up and made a sweet deal towards me, and it seemed cool, and they were willing to let me still fight MMA. So why not double up on my income? So I'm still fielding some offers in MMA, and I think I'm going to rotate between the two. I'd like to fight kickboxing and MMA, and just maximize my income that way.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. Now, would the strategy be fight locally? Because I know when you got released from the UFC the first time, you fought locally in Colorado. You were the main event. I mean, that seemed like a good model for you, especially because you're going to get the ticket sales, and you'll probably get paid better than some of the other promotions.
We're looking at overseas stuff, actually.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Locally, that time I did the local fight was right time, right place. They offered me comparable money to what I was making in the UFC to fight here locally. So why not? I ended up fighting a guy named Jeremy Kimball, who
who's in the UFC.
Is in the UFC now.
That's right.
Yeah. And it worked out well. They paid me a lot of money, and I didn't even get punched that fight. So local fights are great, but I'm searching for bigger money, and there's a lot of big foreign promotions right now that are doing some big things that are paying really well. So I think we're going to end up overseas more likely than not.
Excellent. That sounds good. Always nice to travel, too. I know that's always a bonus when you're getting to fight. But at some point, we got to talk about this Glory fight. You're taking on Kyle Weickhardt. I hope I'm not butchering his last name. Was it tough finding footage on him? I was trying to look up stuff on him, kickboxing-wise and even MMA-wise. MMA-wise, he's fought, the last time he fought was 2011. What have you been able to find on him?
Nothing, So it's just like being an amateur again. You don't even know what guy you're gonna fight until he walks up to the scale. I'm not too worried about it. I've got a ton of experience. I'm just focusing on me getting better more so than an opponent. So I'm going in there like I'm fighting the champion. So I'm not underestimating him. I know I have a lot more experience than him, but at the end of the day, you just got to get in there and fight.
Yeah, and now I imagine for training camp, things are probably the same, except you're not training with Chase Hackett because he does the ground stuff. You don't need to do that for this fight.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of been refreshing, and it's been a lot of fun for me to step back a little bit and just focus on one discipline. It's crazy. I've been able to see a lot of strides and improvement just from focusing on one thing, and it makes me realize that early on in my career, I wish I would have specialized in one thing rather than trying to do it all at once. But it's been a lot of fun. My body feels 10 times better. I don't have people hanging on my neck. I don't have people trying to take me down, this and that. And I haven't had any injuries, no soreness really. With kickboxing, it's crazy because I feel like the training is a little easier on the body, but the fight is going to be harder on the body because I've seen Dustin Jacoby go through it. Kickboxing fights are brutal. People don't realize that there is a lot more wear on your body in kickboxing, I think, than MMA.
Who have been some of your main training partners for this camp? Is it just the usual cast of characters as far as guys in the stand-up department and all that?
Yeah, there's been the usual guys at Factory X. My brother's a big one. He's really, really technical when it comes to straight kickboxing. He grew up doing that first. Like I said, I wish I would have done. I kind of advised him to do that, and it worked out for him. Dustin Jacoby hasn't been able to train too much because his arm was hurt after that last fight. But he's been in coaching me, going through drills and stuff. I got my coach, Mark Montoya. Sparring partners have rotated a bunch. The guy that Dustin fought last, Sean Choice, started training with us right after the fight. Pat Barry's come through a few times. Matt Brown was here. James Krause, Zach Cummings, Cortez Coleman. We always have a rotation of guys coming through, so I get a different look all the time. Some of them are straight kickboxers, and some of them aren't. So it's been good, and I think I'm ready for all aspects of this fight.
Is it just me, or are there more fighters at Factory X now than ever? Because it seems like every time I talk to someone, there's new guys, going through the gym, even just visiting for a bit. It seems like really sort of the hot place in Denver right now.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, we have I want to say our gym's like 10,000 square feet, and we're running out of room. I think on the regular team, not counting the guys that travel through, we have like 40 or 50 pros now. So there's a huge group of guys in here, and like I said, there's guys that come from out of town all the time, and there's always new bodies rotating through, something different to learn from each one and get a different look on each guy sparring.
Excellent. And who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
For this fight, I got Dustin Jacoby and then Mark Montoya.
Nice. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
How's the cut going? I imagine everything going up according to plan. And are you still working with Tyler Minton? Because I know he's in Hawaii working with Max Holloway.
Yeah, Tyler's been a good friend of mine for years now, so we're working remotely. And the cut is good. It's never fun, but I've got it down to a system. I've done it so many times. I'm about 208 to 210 right now. But like I said, I've done it so many times, it's right on track. And I get an extra pound and a half with the 85-kilogram fight now. Yeah, the last 2 pounds is what I've always struggled with. So getting that little extra bit should make it a little bit easier.
So you don't know much about your opponent, but how do you see this fight unfolding on the first? What are you looking to showcase in this fight?
It's awesome with kickboxing. I can come forward and not have to worry about sprawling or defending the takedown. So just a lot of pressure, a lot of volume. I don't know too much about him, but I think he's overconfident. He's tried talking a little bit of shit to me online. I didn't even know that it was the guy I was fighting originally that was talking to me, so I just kind of ignored it. But yeah, I guess he's 8-1 kickboxing. Hopefully I got that right. I don't know. So he's probably a little overconfident about it, but there's a big difference between fighting on an elite level like I've been doing and where he's been at. So I'm not taking him lightly, but I think I'm ready for anything he's got. I'm sure I've seen it before.
Is it safe to say your next competition will be in mixed martial arts after this, or are you looking to get back in the Glory Cage right away? Or ring, I should say. Sorry, I get confused.
You right there. I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. I assumed it would be MMA. Like, I just got an offer today for 2 weeks after, which I wanted to take, but it doesn't sound like they'll let me do that. But we'll see. We're going to see what comes up. Get out of this one clean and clear, and who knows, I could fight again the same month. I want to rack up a ton of fights this year. I'm not getting any younger, so I want to get in all the fights that I can, make all the money that I can, and go from there. So I don't want to waste any time.
And this fight is coming up here December 1st, Glory 48, New York, live on UFC Fight Pass. Chris, it's great getting a chance to talk to you, and I'm glad things have worked out for you, getting the kickboxing fights and then also having the MMA offers. I'm really happy for you, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Camozzi. Instagram, I believe, is at Chris Camozzi 7. Had to throw the number in there, apparently. Facebook, I got a fan page. My store, performancemma.com. You can find me there a few days a week, actually just working in the shop, hanging out, talking to people. And then thank you to my sponsors, Live Well. Who else we got? We got 5-Star, CO. We're working on some other ones. Everything's getting finalized now. My shop, Performance MMA, my team, Factory X, and then my management, Ingrained Media.